Hello everyone. Hi. Hope you have a great day wherever you are. And this is Queena again, and welcome to episode number 44. Today, so we are start to see again positive news in terms of the overall cryptocurrency market and Bitcoin prices, right, being the dominant cryptocurrency, still holding above 4,000 level, and it has been the fourth day in a row where it has been, holding up around that level, which is great, right? Because actually it's been 1 week since its actually lowest point around $3,200 level. So it's actually great news overall. So let's go into the news. Now, VC Trade allows deposits of three major cryptocurrencies: Bitcoin, Ripple, and Ethereum. So quickly, VC Trade, which became renowned as the world's first cryptocurrency exchange backed by a bank, has released some interesting announcements. Cryptocurrency exchange backed by SBI has open deposits of Bitcoin, Ripple, and Ethereum. Now, first of all, let me just quickly clarify. SBI is actually a financial group, it's a banking group in Japan. And they have the first cryptocurrency exchange that is backed by a bank called VC Trade, right? And in fact, they are even ahead of there will be ErisX, right? That's the new cryptocurrency exchange that's expected to be in the US, right? That has investors, among others, the big names in Wall Street like TD Ameritrade, which is one of the fifth largest stockbroker in the US, and of course Nasdaq, right? Nasdaq Ventures, which is a part of Nasdaq, the normal the large tech exchange, right? And Fidelity, which is another is the number three, the third biggest asset manager in US. Yeah, so basically, it is quite surprising at first. A lot of news was centered in the US, and basically ErisX, it will be the first crypto exchange when it launched in mid of next year or early next year, or that's the timeline that will have investors backing by a bank. But right now, VC Trade, which is really the Japan, first cryptocurrency exchange that's backed by a bank. Now, basically, they're open for business, and they now, accept Bitcoin, Ripple, and Ethereum, basically as a deposit. So basically, I guess you can use that to exchange for other crypto. Yeah. Okay. So withdrawals, so they were also later on going to add Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash deposits are next in line with withdrawals of digital assets will begin by the end of January 2019. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So next up, South Korean business school launches crypto MBA program. This is interesting because basically now, right? What is the big significance of this is they are not among the first, right? And there are also many top universities in the US also offering educational programs related on cryptocurrencies and the blockchain. Basically, then all these trends just point to the idea that cryptocurrency and blockchain are really a long-term trend that's going to be here to stay. And the top universities are preparing to have all these courses so that, right, they expect to see a lot of demand from the new generation, that will be, basically flow into this space, right? All the talents are going to flow into this space is what the future expectation. Yeah. And just to quickly see what are their curriculum, they say curriculum includes Bitcoin, Ethereum smart contract, cryptology, EOS, deep learning, and system dynamics mechanism. They also will consist of digital currency studies, macroeconomics, behavioral economics, and theory on currency finance, game theory, and mechanism design. And that's actually very good because actually in today's economics study, and also many of the finance university courses, right, they no longer teach what is money, right, the origin of money, and all this being all these inflationary pressures caused by the printing of money since the 2008 global financial crisis. All these are not being taught in schools, university, anywhere. But I believe, right, with this kind of curriculum and a crypto MBA, you have to touch on, definitely they will be touching on, what is the origin of money and why is the fiat money system bad, and why cryptocurrency is a viable alternative. Yeah, so that would be actually very good because for once that it will be really opening up more awareness and definitely more education level, right, really teaches people, basically empowering them through education, what is the, actual issues that, that is plaguing the industry or the society today. Yeah. And just to also highlight, right, what other universities are actually offering courses related to cryptocurrencies. Yeah. A great number of business schools worldwide have added crypto classes, including Stanford Graduate School of Business, Wharton School of University of Pennsylvania, and Georgetown University McDonald School of Business. Yeah. So they're basically expanding classes in digital currency and blockchain to keep up with the demand from students and their future employers. So this is definitely a very important trend that basically points to the long-term potential, right? Very positive long-term potential. Yeah. This one I thought is just quite interesting. I won't read the whole news, but I just want to quote the consensus, which is the Ethereum, right? Ethereum developer team CEO Joseph Lubin, right, on layoffs. Sky's not falling, future is very bright. I actually want to say something. He said, quote, peaking in 2019, if you could see the landscape through my eyes, you would have to wear shades. Yeah, that is I thought it's a very good joke, right? A bit lame maybe, but it's a very interesting way to actually counter people who are, very gloomy about this space. Basically then it's just say that, it's a bit of sarcastic remark, but I thought is very interesting. So basically why he say this is because consensus, are restructuring their staff, right? But basically they are still focusing on, building up all their scaling platform for Ethereum. So yeah, basically this is, to answer the naysayers that, Ethereum is not going to survive. And he basically thinks, and he actually calling the market is currently bottoming. And and probably it is quite true because we already have seen, 7 days of increase from the lowest trough. And now we're in the fourth day in a row running of, prices that, keep going up. So that's good, right? Yeah. Next up, Bitfinex adds margin trading for Tether, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV. So Bitfinex is one of another major exchange that basically, were commended, right, or basically complemented, right, together with Binance Exchange, right, that they are not falsifying any of their trading information. So definitely a very established exchange. So Bitfinex, they are basically expanding their product offerings, right? So to have more options and basically make, so that shows maturity as well in this space, right? Where investors will have more choices, right, when it comes to doing a margin trading. Yeah. Okay, the year of cryptocurrency rout. So in 2018, major cryptocurrency exchanges shut shop. For instance, ZapPay, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in India, closed its business in September. Now remember, India is one of those markets after China that still doesn't have very clear regulations on cryptocurrency. In fact, if anything, India and China are anti-cryptocurrency, at least officially, that's what it is. Yeah. They also have been, not too long ago, they also have caught people who trying to actually install a Bitcoin ATM in the street. They basically have jailed that person because, it's deemed to be illegal to operate an ATM without any license, banking license. So yeah. So the thing so basically they're saying, this article is basically saying is things are basically not going well in terms of crypto related business in India, right? A lot of businesses have shut down and the government have actually not come clear in terms of regulations, although they said they will, but basically a lot of things they're still being delayed. Well, but perhaps in India, that's how the trend it is, right? I mean, in terms of infrastructure as well, you see it takes a long time for actually infrastructure to be executed well. So probably not a surprise to be expected in countries like India, but so what is interesting in this article is actually this chart, right? And for people who are not looking, it'd be great to actually have a look now. And because they actually have a chart in this article, they actually quote from Bloomberg, right, that shows the price of Bitcoin keep falling in 2018. And it says, the title says, free fall in 2018, regulatory hurdles, frauds, and the lack of fundamentals have led to a slump in Bitcoin prices. Why I want to actually call out this chart is because, right, the prices showing is keep falling and its source is Bloomberg, right? But it's not highlighting that actually prices has actually gone up now, right? which many call, right, is due to a Santa Claus effect, Santa rally. That's basically what they say. Well, whatever the reason is actually good, right? And also there's also a lot of views that among analysts that because the price expected to bottom around 3,000, right? So that's why when prices hit a low of 3,200, people are start to accumulate again, right? That's why probably prices are going up to close to 4,000 again now, and it hovers very strongly around that range, yeah. So now come back to this chart. Why I thought, so the thing is this, Bloomberg, why would they want to make a chart which is so scary, right? There's nothing positive about this chart. It's not even in balance. The message is clearly, very negative, and it is in the mainstream news. So that's why, again, if you have watched my previous episodes, one of the very clear message that I've always been saying is that, right, the mainstream news is really to scare people off, right, and to startle people, right, to actually stay away from this dangerous, right, it's not even an asset, it's the dangerous thing, I would say, right. Anyone associated with cryptocurrency will basically be doomed. That's the message basically I'm getting from just purely looking at this chart if I don't know anything about cryptocurrency, yeah. So, next news, poll shows 13% of Russians use cryptocurrency for online purchases. So this is very good again. So basically, they have surveyed about 1,000 residents of the Russian Federation on the eve of Christmas holidays. That shows that 13% of Russians use cryptocurrency to pay for items they buy on the internet. That may not sound like a lot, but the results of the survey, which covers a full range of cashless payment methods, also demonstrate there's more ground to be conquered. And don't forget, this is just a 10-year technology, right? And credit card is 50 years, 50. So in comparison, the adoption rate is actually, we are seeing a much increase, especially now, despite everything in the news that may be bad. Prices are still in, very bearish mode, right? Despite improving a bit now. But overall, right, we are seeing adoption starts to actually happen, not only in hyperinflation countries like Venezuela, like yesterday's news, we have seen Brazil, one of the major supermarkets are accepting cryptocurrency. And now we're seeing Russians, right, also use 13% is quite a high number actually, right? And not only that, they're saying another 5% of people, another 5% of participants in another survey said they were willing to try out cryptocurrency payments despite never having owned digital coins before. So that's very encouraging again in terms of the adoption, right? And when adoption comes, then this asset class will become much more mainstream, and that will be actually good for the prices overall, and of course for the future of the cryptocurrency overall as well, yeah. Next news, XRP base pair on Binance gaining steam. This is again very good news for the XRP community and supporters. So this is, I think a few days ago, basically, we had a news that says Coinbase, right, is listing 4 of the Ethereum tokens like DAI, Golem, Maker, and Zilliqa, right? And the way that they list those 4 coins is not a uniform across all of their markets. So basically, some of the tokens are not listed on US. So then I basically have speculated, on my opinion is that it'd be great if they can do that same trend, because now a precedent has been set. It'd be great if they can also do that on XRP, because XRP still has a gray area of regulation in US. So they can do that, right? They can list XRP everywhere in Coinbase except US for now. Yeah, so that would be very, very positive, and that hopefully will lead to an overall rally in the crypto market as well, because now XRP is really the number 2, right? So the latest news is that XRP base pair on Binance is gaining steam. Is basically there was a tweet, right, by XRP supporter that says there's 2 choices here, but you need to pick one. One is buy me a Camaro for Christmas. Too much for a billionaire. You should pick the second. And the second is actually XRP base pair. This one, you will make a lot of us have a happy Christmas. And to that, right, the Binance CEO, Zhang Pingzhao, says, careful what you wish for, with a smiley face, right? That basically, it indicates, right, there's no, of course, it's just an opinion of mine, that there's an indication then, right, Binance could be very serious in adding this XRP base pair to their exchange, right? And if they do so, especially, around this week, right, or the next week, coming week, then this will really give a great boost to XRP itself. But not only that, of course, it will also give, so why would it give that incentive to XRP price? Because then it will give give people more incentive to buy and hold XRP, because now they can use that as a base to exchange for other crypto, right? And also then come back into XRP. So then it's very positive for XRP should Binance do that. And also, I think what will happen is that if XRP really were to get rally from this, then also it will bring an overall, positive spillover effect to the other major cryptocurrencies as well. So then it will be great. We'll probably end up the year then with a higher level than 4,000 now, right? Yeah, it'd be great if we can go back to the 6,000 level, which we were at, for the most part of 2018. Yeah. Next news, Bermuda issues draft crypto custodial services regulation. So just want to quickly say, what is this custodial? And custodial means custody solution. It's basically very important requirements that will be, demanded by most of the institutional players like hedge funds, family offices, right, pension funds, before they actually invest in cryptocurrency, because custody is basically a safekeeping solutions, right? And it's always done by a third party that is not the exchange itself. So you have this independent party that makes sure your underlying assets are safe kept, because as you know, right, institutions are not like you and me. They actually, once they invest, it's actually billions of dollars, right? And they really need security is then very important for these players, right? And a lot of them are handling monies for very, I would say important people like pensioners, right, who really depend on so security is a number one priority to make sure these people, right, do not lose their money. And it is that's why, because of that, right, a lot of the Wall Street firms, right, that a lot of the times when you say institutional support are in place, is because names like Fidelity are also looking into developing custody solutions, and they have openly come out and said that they will do that. And that gives a lot of support to say why 2019 is really the year then, crypto institutions should drive the next rallies. Basically why that is all the news. Yeah. But let's look at this news. The Bermuda Monetary Authority, the island's foremost financial services regulator, has published a draft regulations for cryptocurrency custodial services. The regulation code of practice for digital asset custody outlines prescriptions to ensure the secure handling of customers' crypto assets. So I thought this is very good, because a country like Bermuda are issuing, regulations around custody solutions that I think when one country normally issues regulation, normally other countries will follow suit as well. That's what we see in the overall crypto regulations as well. That's that trend. So most likely this will hopefully follow that trend, and then it'll be very good, because as we see more and more players now, offering custody solutions for cryptocurrency, then it's very good to have regulations in this space. Yeah. Next, PayPal's latest partnership may act as bridge to Ripple. Then this is again another positive news potentially for Ripple. But Temenos, a Swiss-based banking software house, has signed a contract with online payment processor PayPal, with the news giving rise to commentary on social media that the move could sow the seeds of an eventual Ripple-PayPal partnership. So why is that? Because Temenos is actually a software company that handles the responsibility for the deployment of XRP, right, a cross-border payments solution released by Ripple back in September, right? And basically then, because of now both PayPal and Ripple share the same sorry, there's something wrong with the browser. So as they share the same underlying software, right? So basically then it will be very easy should PayPal one day want to use Ripple platform, then it'll be just very easy connection as well. So, but of course, there's nothing concrete about PayPal coming to use Ripple, but still, right, it at least the platform now is in place. Should this happen in the future, then, it is also very positive. But of course, they went, of course, this is all pure speculation for now, but the fact that it could, right, then again, right, it's always on rumor, right? I mean, always news start on rumors, right? So my opinion is that then it could happen in the future, but right now, not yet, yeah? So it still might be a long-term positive, again, for Ripple. So last news, which I thought is actually very important, that I want to highlight. So this appears in Forbes, which I've always said Forbes is actually always read by people who are very rich, right, including billionaires, and above. So Wall Street, the title of the article is Wall Street could change the game for Bitcoin again, right? And this news, right, I will read through it but basically it's almost like educating people who doesn't know about BACT is what my takeaway when I read this news, you know. And I'm just thinking that why would a news article coming up in Forbes to educate, you know, the Forbes readers about BACT, that then I think, right, it could be because you know, people who are billionaires are not fully into the crypto news yet, right? So they don't read other crypto news websites regularly. So they probably don't know much about BACT. And then there's a validity and there's a merit in actually giving them a quick, you know, download on what this BACT is, and then why link that to, you know, Wall Street is actually going to change the game for Bitcoin in 2019, and that actually then, you know, will give them more, how would I say, more conviction to actually buy into this crypto assets at this kind of low bottom prices. And you know, because don't forget, a few weeks ago there was an article that actually say, right, Bitcoin is the trade of the decade, and they actually think that the, you know, when you think about long-term returns, expected returns, they're basically saying, that author is basically saying then investments in a basket of cryptocurrencies, but being the dominant being Bitcoin, you know, will outdo the normal conventional assets that you have, including apartment in Manhattans, right, including the equity, including bonds and so forth. So basically is, you know, is a very positive message for Forbes readers. And now you have actually an article that actually say BACT, you know, kind of really giving overview on BACT. Is almost like educating people who doesn't know anything about BACT. And then, you know, the implication is that then, you know, institutions are coming in, so, you know, prices should go up again. Yeah, that's what I think. And then what does it mean? So I really think then this is again trying to signal to the rich that, you know, now is really a good time because it's also bottoming now. So now is really the time to get it. Just give them another boost of confidence to go in. Yeah. So let me read it now. A new product from Wall Street could change the game for Bitcoin in 2019 and perhaps help its price to rise again. Wall Street is seeking regulatory approval of a new Bitcoin futures contract. It could help reduce the price volatility of the digital currency. That's according to a recent story published on Friday's Wall Street Journal. Launched by Intercontinental Exchange, the new contract will be settled in Bitcoins rather than in dollars. By the way, BACT was in the news for a long time, right? And I guess it only appeared in Wall Street Journal recently. That's the other indication of who read Wall Street journals, right? People who are in the mainstream, who are in the finance world, who are richer, definitely. Who probably not in crypto yet as well. Reducing the price volatility, back to the news, reducing the price volatility will pave the way for digital currency to be accepted as a means of payment in everyday transactions, like the buying of coffee in Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts outlets. If approved, these contracts will be bullish development for the people's currency. Starbucks and Dunkin' brands have been talking about accepting Bitcoin instead of dollars in their stores. Apparently, accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment for their products will fuel a great deal of buzz for the two franchises. This is especially the case among young consumers enchanted with the digital currency. This isn't the first time Wall Street has tried to change the game for Bitcoin. Last year, Wall Street introduced its first Bitcoin futures contracts, but those contracts were settled in dollars rather than in Bitcoin. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, and any other merchants concerned about this prospect can short Bitcoin futures. This means that any losses in the spot market will be made up in the futures market. Meanwhile, Wall Street has introduced other products that allow broader investor participation in the Bitcoin market, like the Bitcoin Investment Trust. So again, sorry, this is opinion again. Bitcoin investment trusts are only really available. So the price premium, right? Bitcoin investment trusts are priced at a premium of, it can be up to 20% to, you know, if you buy the Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies directly. So these kind of trusts are really targeting the people who are uber rich, super rich, because they don't want, you know, they want to buy something quickly. They don't mind paying the premium. They rather not have the, you know, the tough work or the manual work, or, you know, going to an ATM or going to an exchange, sign up, give your ID, you know, then pay, do a transfer, wait and all that. They would rather not do those manual, and they are willingly happy to pay that 20% premium. Yeah. So again, it's interesting that again, this been already in the market for a few years now. Again, it is interesting if this article, you know, kind of mentioning this in the Forbes is really like introduction, right? Right? Didn't you agree? Okay, next, back to the news. All these products could help the digital currency move from the innovator and early adopter stage in the Rogers curve to the early majority. That's when demand for a product turns into a cascade and the product becomes an epidemic. And that would be good news for Bitcoin bulls, as an epidemic means higher Bitcoin prices, especially since Bitcoin is in limited supply. Provided, of course, that the big government, big banks, and fraud do not spoil the party again. And it is interesting that, he ends with a note disclosure that says, okay, this is important. Investing in cryptocurrency token is highly speculative and the market is largely unregulated. Anyone considering it should be prepared to lose their entire investment. And again, of course, for people who are super rich, if they just put 1% out, they probably don't mind losing, right? And the key thing is this, right? The killer point is this disclosure. He doesn't even own any Bitcoin. It's very interesting for someone who doesn't own any Bitcoin to actually spend some time writing an article and publish it in Forbes. Yeah. So yes, I just thought, it's very interesting that these things are happening, right? So again, cryptocurrencies, it seems to be the trend again. Cryptocurrencies are really meant for the rich, but I'm hopeful, and hopefully that, with so much YouTube channels like my own channel, for example, that sharing information like this, that hopefully more people on the street, right, more normal people like you and me will basically, we'll have more hands as well on this asset, right? At least we can have one Bitcoin. That's not bad already, right? Because then, yeah. So that's all I have for today. And really, I just want to, again, great. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this, right, feel free to subscribe, please. And leave a like, leave a comment as well of what you would like to see more in the future, or what you don't like. And also, please feel free to share this with people, who are newbies as well, so that to spread the words around, right? Yeah. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day wherever you are. And yes. And live with high energy, live with passion. Thank you so much. Yeah.